Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Today, I want to talk about inflation. Inflation's been running rampant for a while now, and everything that we do, it's impacting our every fact of life. As the middle class, the backbone of society, the hard working class people, it's hitting them the most. Cost of groceries, cost of anything, just insurance is rising, food prices, gas, anything, even McDonald's. The price of a value meal, what used to be, $6 now is somewhere in the $8 and up. So it's impacting everything. It's how we live, how we want to budget, how we're planning for the future. Inflation is here, and on Wednesday we have a big date coming up where we're going to get a CPI number, and if the CPI number is higher than expected, then we know the Fed's probably going to raise rates, and and so on. So the pain is going to continue, and I want to talk about how inflation is impacting the middle class and things we can do to prepare ourselves and be in a better situation. Inflation's coming, and recession, we're already in it, and chances are it's going to be announced by the end of the year, and we have to take steps to protect ourselves from financial ruin. So if this sounds like something you're interested in, follow up, and we're going to talk about it. But before I begin, I want you to, if you find anything that I talk about of substance and helpful, insightful, please hit that like button. I really appreciate it. And if you like it even more, subscribe to the channel. I put out content like this every week, and I'm just sharing my opinion. This is not financial advice, it's just education. And basically, it's just some guy just talking and voicing his opinion on how I see things. So let's get into it. Inflation is known as the silent thief. It's not someone coming up to you saying, hey, give me your money, or they pickpocket you or anything like that, but it's just slowly taken away from your purchasing power. So what you used to buy 2 years ago for $1 or $2 is now $3.50, $4. So it's basically diminishing your purchasing power. So that's why, people refer to inflation as the silent thief. And it impacts everything from gas, your everyday purchases, fuel, clothes that you buy, just everyday life. What you used to pay for a year ago is that much more expensive now. Now, I mentioned in the beginning, we have a CPI, Consumer Price Index. That information, or that report, is going to come out on Wednesday, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. And that is going, previously for May, it was 8.6. People were anticipating it'd be something shorter or smaller than that. 8.3 it was actually 8.6, and the markets did not react positively to that. Now the stock market is pricing in that it's going to come in hotter than 8.6 and going to rise to 8.8%. So what is the Consumer Price Index, you ask? It's a measure of the average of change over time in the prices by urban consumers for a market basket of consumer goods and services. Indexes are available for the U.S. in various geographic areas. Average price data for select utility, automobile fuel, and food items are also available. So the four main things they highlight here are food, energy, all items less than food and energy, and all items. So we're going to get that number on Wednesday, and it's anticipated that it's going to be 8.8 or higher. If it is lower than that, the stock market and crypto markets will react positively to that. So let's see. A lot of people got their eyes on Wednesday. It's going to be a big date. So inflation is impacting, like I mentioned, the middle class, and no harder where it's being felt are the renters. And renters, believe it or not, in these big metro areas like New York, California, Austin, where it's already unattainable to buy a home because they're just so expensive, people were long having a lifestyle renting. And now with inflation, that's even harder to do because rent, is climbing 14.1%, over the past year. So imagine renewing your lease and then finding out that you're paying hundreds more just to stay in the same place that maybe you've been staying for years. It's hard. And then you add on top of that, with the inflation and Jerome Powell and Fed trying to control interest, trying to control inflation. Now, as far as mortgage rates, they're increasing. So if you're in one of those metro areas where, rent's high and already the home market, you're priced out of it, what are you going to do? And let's say you're not in a place where maybe the home market's not as high as California or New York. Let's say Florida, for instance, even those prices are higher. So now you have rent increasing everywhere nationwide, And on top of that, if you're trying to buy a home and save to buy a home, now you're kind of being priced out of that too, because the mortgage rates are increasing, and the home you thought you could afford now is even that much harder to attain. So someone that's working paycheck to paycheck, trying hard to make a living, this is very discouraging. And I hope inflation somehow gets under control, and these mortgages and the interest rates go down, and the rent gets controlled somehow. It's impacting travel airfare. It's the summer months. A lot of people have kids are out, and you want to take a summer vacation. And if you look at these airline prices, it's ridiculous. It's up 25%. And some places even higher, some carriers even higher. And if you can get a flight, due to, pilot shortages, flights are being canceled. Inflation is touching everything. It's touching your, how you live, as far as your rent and mortgages, now even travel. And let's say you don't want to fly, maybe you want to, take the road and take a look at the scenery. Even rental cars are being impacted. You have rental cars, and the main reason that's being impacted is because the rental car companies, normally how they make a profit is when they have these cars in fleet, they sell them, they flip them to a used car market, and that's how they make their money. Well, prior to COVID, that's what they were doing. And then because the shortages of the semiconductors, and then you have the supply chain issues, they're not getting all the new cars that they used to get. So now they have a smaller inventory, and because of that, they have high demand. They have to charge more. So you're getting crappier cars in most cases, and you're still paying more for that. So maybe 2 years ago, a vehicle, a minivan, you probably would have rented for a week of $150. Now it's costing double that. In some cases, triple that just to rent for vacation. So it's crazy. Airlines are going higher. Your rental car is going higher. Living expenses higher. And since we're talking about rental cars, we want to talk about fuel. Say you don't rent a car and you just want to travel. You have a newer vehicle, a safer vehicle that you could rely on, that you could take a road trip on. The fuel prices are up. I would say within the last couple of weeks, though, it has been going a little bit lower, but still nothing what we were paying 2 years ago. And if you look at the AAA rating here, you see some areas in the red: California, Oregon, the western states there. The average, you're talking about $5 to $6 a gallon for regular gas. That's crazy. That's crazy. Some areas you have relief. You see these deep blue areas like Texas, Oklahoma. That's ranging from $4.18 to $4.40. And then you have areas in the lighter blue like Florida. They're about $4.4 to $4.50. So that's good. I mean, it's better than it was, but it's still very expensive to rent. And it's very expensive to put gas in your own personal vehicle. Food. So that's, inflation's hitting that as well. If you look at since July 2021 to now, the price of food, dairy, your meats and all of that increased by 10%. That's what this says. But, me going to the supermarket, I think it's more than that. So you add, the housing, you have the travel, travel, leisure, the fuel that you have to put in your vehicle, food, it's just impacting someone that's working, crazy hours per week, and then they're living paycheck to paycheck, barely scraping by. With these prices, what can you do? It's like the cards are stacked against you. But there is a way. Maybe there'll be some pain in the future, but if we stick to our guns and be smart with ourselves, there's a way. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. So Warren Buffett, a very respected investor, he gave his top tips for beating inflation, and I want to go over those. Number one, invest in good businesses with low capital needs. Look for companies that can raise prices during high, periods of inflation. Take a look at TIP, which are Treasury inflation protected securities. TIP pays investors a fixed interest rate twice a year, but the principal amount is adjusted for inflation. Invest in yourself and be the best at what you do. Invest in yourself and be the best at what you do is my favorite one out of all these things. It's number one, just trying something new, something you've always wanted to do. Just try it. You never know. The limitations mostly are in your mind. You can do anything you want to do, but maybe you're scared of what people are going to say. Maybe you're going to fail and everything like that. We set our own limitations. Try something new. If you want to go out and learn a new skill, go ahead and do that. Get certified in something. Be a real estate agent if you want to do that. Don't be afraid to try something new. And if you don't, and you're successful in what you're doing now currently in your profession, be the best at it. Right now with the recession coming up, there are going to be a lot of companies having job freezes and maybe letting people go, you want to stand out. You don't want to be the one that they let go. You want to say, all right, this is a good employee. This person works extremely hard. We want to keep him and him or her to be in our company for a long time. We don't want to cut them. They're not dead weight. His other pointer is stay clear of traditional bonds. And lastly, limit your wants. Limit your wants are, maybe you want that new, high-end vehicle. Maybe you want that new Louis Vuitton bag, or maybe you want some high-end shoes. And you could afford it now, but, why not wait? Why not put that money aside? Because we're heading into troubled waters. Honestly, if you look at what's going on globally, looking around what's going on in our own state, in our country, things aren't clear, and there's some headwinds coming up in the future. So it's good to have just a safety net in case things don't go good for you. So that's all I got today. I also wanted to talk about the stocks as well. If you look at year to date for 2022, some of the big companies, the returns that we've seen, this was shared by Charlie Biello. He's a good guy on Twitter. He has some very good information. But I took this from him today. And if you look at some of the big companies and the returns that they've had so far, Apple negative 18, Google negative 19, Microsoft negative 21, Amazon negative 32, Tesla negative 34, AMD negative 46, Nvidia negative 48. A lot of quality companies here that are on sale. So, Warren Buffett, he mentioned, invest in some good companies. Right now is the time to do it. And if you're a long-term investor and you have that long-term mindset, meaning that you're not looking to get anything out of this for another 3 to 5 years, this is a perfect time. You're getting some good companies at a discount rate. So if you have the money and you have emergency fund and you have something to invest, it's not a bad idea to look at some of these good companies. So if you like this video, if you found anything of value in this video, please hit that like button. I really appreciate it. And if you want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe channel. Subscribe to the channel. I'll be greatly appreciative. So thank you for your time, and everyone, I hope you stay safe. Until next time. Later.